So let's start like this. How many of you ever went to the gym? Okay, great. How many of you are still going? No, just kidding. Okay. So I had a student who was a trainer. So I was asking him for, exercises to do at the gym. So he gives me a set of exercises. He asked me what I wanted to do, etc. He gives me a set of exercises. It's great and wonderful. So I'm getting ready to go, and then he says, well, call me back in about 2 months or 6 weeks. He says, I'll give you some other exercise. I said, why do you have to do that? I mean, you just gave me what I'm looking for. He says, oh, no. You don't understand. If you do the same things over and over and over and over again, the body will start getting used to it, and it won't grow anymore. You have to keep changing it up. Yes. The topic of the morning. Changing it up. Because the same thing happens. Think about it. How many of you go to work and you could be great employees or employers, but you tend to fall to the same routine. You do the same thing, you do your work the same way, etc. And then after a while, you're wondering why other people may be advancing ahead of you. You're doing a great job, everybody likes you, etc., but you fall into a routine. And the people who are passing you up or who pass up others are the ones who think in an out-of-the-box way, we say. They're not thinking in routine. This is the way we've always done it. This is how we do things here, etc., etc. They come up with some new and innovative way. And so that's what I want us to realize, that if we stay even in a good routine, it eventually becomes a bad habit that can be detrimental to us. How many of you are still walking? Okay, great. How many of you consciously have to think about which foot goes first, how you follow up, etc.? Yes, okay, one crazy person in the back. It is the Kabbalah Center, okay. So we're so used to it, we're in such a routine of walking. How many of you have been walking for years and years and years and ever tripped over something? Ever stubbed your toe? Exactly why? Because we fall into a routine. I'm not saying it's bad to walk, but if we're not constantly raising our consciousness, if we're not constantly aware, then that routine becomes like that bad habit. We're walking, and why do we not see the curb? Why do we just stub our toe? Why are we not lifting our feet enough, etc., etc.? Because it's routine. It becomes a habit. So we know bad habits are bad. I want us to wake up this morning and realize even routines can be detrimental. Not that they are bad per se, but they hold us back. We stop growing when we fall into routine. And the one thing that is constant in the universe is change. The one thing that the Kabbalists teach, and we teach here in the center, constant change. It's essential for us to constantly change. Because like everything else, if we stay in the same old, what do you expect to get? Same old. Now, remember, and those of you who are new, it may be a new idea, but the Kabbalists explained to us that when we came into the physical world, the Creator being pure and perfect, gave us already perfection, created us perfect and pure. So then if we stay the same, no matter how good you think your life is, there's still more waiting for you. And that's where our frustrations come up. Somewhere along the way we realize, or we're having this thought, but this is nice, but I know there's more. I know I'm supposed to have more. I feel I could do more. I feel I can help more, what have you. That's the part we haven't revealed yet. So sometimes when you look around the world, you say, oh, thank God it looks the same day in and day out, because not everybody stays the same. People losing their businesses, people having difficulty in relationships, people having health issues. But let me point out the fact, as I learned from my teacher, Rav Berg, if you take a person in an escalator, we still remember what escalators are? Okay, so you have a down escalator. According to the physical rules of the universe, entropy, the world is going down, right? Everything falls apart. Clothes wear out, shoes wear out, cars wear out, things wear out. So the universe, in essence, is going down slowly. So if we dropped you in the middle of that escalator, just to stay in that place and not be going down, what do you have to do? You have to at least move at the pace of the escalator. You may not be going forward to the top, but just to stay the same, you still have to make an effort. You can't just stand there and say, well, it was good yesterday, it was good for the last 20 years, so I'll stay the same. Because slowly, slowly, that escalator's going down. Things are falling apart. We're looking at the world today, we're seeing it. At the same time, you and I are learning here that the light of the Creator inside of us has the power to help us not only just stay the same, but get to the top. Because that's what God declared for us, that's what the Creator gave us, and that's what we all really want, is to have it all. But we have to move, we have to do. And that's why even the routine that you may think today is serving you, as it becomes too routine, it's actually holding us back. Spiritually, it's all the same thing too. There's a very nice story written by the Kabbalists of a spiritual leader who walked into a place of worship. And as he walked in, he looks at all the people who are there, who are praying and meditating, whatever it may be, and he looks at them and he says, you know, this place is full of prayers. So they all look and say, wow, that's so great. I mean, what are we doing here? Praying. He says, no, you don't understand. Our prayers are meant to go up to the upper worlds and then come back with some blessing. But if we don't change our consciousness, if we don't know how to send it up, then it just stays here. And therefore, this room was full of prayers. It was not a good thing. Because why? People fell into that routine. And so we have to understand, whether it's spiritually or physically, we have to do something to get out of routine. Not because the routine is bad, but because it holds us back from whatever our next level of good is. You ever heard of the book of Psalms? Who wrote them? King David. King David wrote the book of Psalms. Ways and means for us to connect to the light of the Creator, to get more blessings in our life. But do you happen to know when he wrote them? He wrote them while he was running for his life from King Saul, who wanted to kill him. Now, hopefully none of us have people chasing us to kill us. But the lesson for us is to understand that sometimes we have to be pushed out of our comfort zone in order to make a stronger connection to the light of the Creator, in order to express something greater than we've expressed up to now, in order to get to our potential. So in essence, what is it that holds us back from getting out of our routine is that idea of the comfort zone, comfortability. To be too comfortable in the space we're in, eventually, like King David, something has to come along to help us get out of that spot. So if you ask now, but wait a second, Chaim, if the Creator gave us 100%, aren't we supposed to be comfortable? I mean, imagine, if you were shining all of the light of your soul out to every human being on earth 24/7, how would you feel? Uncomfortable or comfortable? Comfortable. The light of the Creator going. Blessings, peace, love, serenity, all those good things would be channeling out of us 24/7. Of course we'd feel comfortable. So the point is not that we shouldn't be comfortable. The point is, like King David is teaching us, in essence, we've got to keep running towards that comfort, not assuming that we're already in it or staying where we are. He was anointed king. What could be better than that? In charge of the whole kingdom. And yet all of a sudden somebody was chasing him. So we learn here to take that as a lesson, not to wait for people to chase us, but to run to get out of our comfort zone, to do something to share with other people, so that we can be the same, we can achieve that 100%, we can be more connected to the light. And so we have to find a way to break our routine, to break those grooves that we've gotten into. So if I ask you now to take a minute and think about what routine may be holding you back, think about the things you do on a daily basis that are just the same. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's, like we say, bad habit that you know is detrimental. Could be something good. How many of you drive to work every day? How many of you drive the same way to work every day? Exactly. It's a routine. And sometimes that's what lulls us into that false sense, and we're not paying attention. Like when we walk, we don't pay attention because we assume we've been walking for years. Why do we have to wake up? But if you don't, you trip. Sometimes, you never had a near accident? Driving? Near accident. Hopefully no accident, but a near accident. Why does that happen? Not paying attention in some way or other. We get routine. Okay, confession time. Just to get out of my routine. When my kids first became aware of driving, every now and then, bless you, bless me, every now and then, I would drive with my knees. And I look at my kids and they say, Dad, what are you doing? Right? Even if it was for 10 seconds. What are you doing? I say, well, you can't do that until you've been driving for 40 years. And then they give me this look and I realize, can't do that anymore, right? Because you're just assuming everything will be okay. So I have stopped doing that. Yeah, thank you. Great. Okay. What? Yeah. Now put on the seatbelt, okay. No, because you start to realize, like I'm telling you, you've got to wake up. And sometimes we need those wake-up calls. In my case, thank goodness it was my kids to wake me up and say, you don't want us to do that, why are you doing it? And they're right. I can say to myself, yes, I've been driving for over 40 years, everything's been okay, so I'm okay. I know how to watch this and this and this and that. I can tell myself that. But I don't want to have it tested by having a near accident, just because. And that's why I'm sharing it with you. We all fall into some kind of routine that right now it may not look bad. But this morning I'm here to wake us all up to do something to break out of that. Whether we take the lesson from King David, we look around our own lives and we see it. People are taking things too routinely, and we need to wake up. So I'm going to ask you to help me in this moment, if that's okay. Do I have your permission? So how many of you, when you come here, because many of you are regulars now, you're sitting in the same seat, near the same area? Exactly. Again, it's warm and loving, right? Everything is great here. We have a good time. We awaken consciousness, but it's also a routine. So I'd like us to start just by a simple act. If I can ask you all to stand up. Yeah, look at the people going, oh my God, really? I have to? Right? And I would like you, just for the rest of this morning, to go sit in a place that you don't sit, with people you don't sit with. Yes, that means moving away from your friend for the next 20 minutes or so. Shh. But also, one second, as you're moving, please say to the people you're passing, I am supporting you in changing your routine for the better. Please. Okay. First of all, I support you in changing your routines for the better, and I also want to have you give yourselves a round of applause. Because I saw in a lot of faces like, uh-oh, and you could get already the sense. Now here it's a very simple thing, right? And if you think about really how much effort it was for some of us to do that, and yet it's a simple thing. We're all warm, it's a nice place, we're getting a spiritual awakening, etc. But we want to take this again and use it as a pattern for the rest of our week. Find something. I'm not telling you you have to change everything 180 degrees. Drive to work a different way. When you go shopping, go down to a different store. I don't know, drive to this store in a different way. Go to a different mall, something. Just start to change the patterns in your life that you do habitually, because it will open up a new sense of inspiration. It'll open up a new awareness. Because it doesn't matter whether it's something like this, you just change something about your life. In the willingness to move and support each other to change, you opened up your consciousness. And we know anytime you change your consciousness and you open up something new in your mind, the Creator will fill it with a new thought, with a new awareness about something that's troubling you in your life, about some challenge that's going on in your life. I mean, think about it. We just read recently the story of Jacob and Esau, his brother. These are two brothers. They were twins, in fact. They were in the same womb for the same 9 months. But when they came out, we learn from the Bible and Kabbalistically, they were like two different people. Jacob, we usually say, he was the positive one, he was the good one, and Esau, his brother, was not the good one. But you know what? The Kabbalists teach us Esau had a tremendously greater potential to be more spiritual, to be on a higher spiritual level than his brother Jacob. What was the issue? If you go back and you look just at the simple story, Jacob wanted to be his 100%. Jacob wanted to be everything the Creator created him to be. And therefore, he was constantly being challenged and overcoming those challenges to express more of his soul, till the point where he became transformed to the name of Israel, and he was the father of the 12 tribes, which are all of us. Virtually every human being on earth now can trace our roots back to those 12 tribes. Esau, on the other hand, already thought that he was there. I mean, imagine, he already came out. The Kabbalists write, in the Zohar it says, nobody in history respected his parents more than Esau. But like that routine, he wasn't willing to push himself out of anything else. So he respected his parents all his life, more than anybody else on earth, but at some point it became routine. And therefore he didn't achieve his potential. It took many, many lifetimes and generations later for his soul to start to come into its fullness. Here, what I learned from my teachers and what I'm sharing with you is how not to do that. We need to awaken the desire for our potential. We need to awaken the desire for all the light and all the blessings and all the good things the Creator already set out for us. And then we have to run towards them. Whether we look at King David, who ran towards his good, whether we look at Jacob, who ran towards his good, look at any spiritual leader. How many of them sat in the same routine over and over and over again? They didn't. Not one of them. Not a Moses, not a Jesus, not a Muhammad, not a Buddha, none of them. They were constantly moving into something new. We want our 100%, so we have to do the same thing. We have to move. We have to realize we have greater potential, but we also have to acknowledge our potential. That's why here we're constantly reminding ourselves, I am a pure and perfect being of light. I am a pure and perfect being of light. You have to look in the mirror and say that. I am a pure and perfect being of light. We have to be willing to acknowledge our perfection. What happens is we have that other mindset in our thoughts that says, yeah, but if you're so perfect, why do you do this, 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 and this? Why do we do it? Because we've given into our routine. And once you settle into routine, then all the negativity, the limited thoughts will come to you. And that's our opportunity to break them, to overcome those limitations. So don't ever allow that voice in your head to tell you you're limited. Don't ever settle for anything less than your desire for everything and movement towards that. Nobody says by tomorrow you have to be perfect. We're already perfect. Just start removing the blockages that aren't letting you or other people see that. Show them, as we affirm every day, every Sunday, show them greater love, greater compassion, greater care, greater generosity, greater humility, greater forgiveness and tolerance. Live into your 100%, because it's already there. And like King David, like Jacob, like all the examples we have, at the end of the day, we're not going to be happy with anything less. So why should we settle for it? In fact, think about it. You try and settle, what happens? You get pushed. That's why even Esau, you read the story of Esau, he wanted to just be settled, stay in his place. He recognized his potential. Like we said, some of us, we could even say, I feel the light of the Creator. Every day I meditate and I pray and I feel the light of the Creator, 100%. But do you see it in your life around you? I remember years ago, before I came to the center, I used to sit every morning and I used to meditate. And I'd work myself into this sense of peace and serenity. It was great as long as I was in my room. I get up out of my chair, I have my breakfast, I start to drive my car out of my house. All I needed to see was one driver who didn't do what I wanted, and that sense of peace and serenity disappeared. Because why? It became routine. Even praying. We all may pray and meditate every day. I'm not telling you to change that, like don't pray, don't meditate. No, but we get into routine in our consciousness. Same meditation, same prayer, same thoughts. And what happens? You can do the same thing and you even forgot you prayed. Don't tell me it never happened, right? Whatever you do regularly, at some point, wait a second, you're eating breakfast. Say, well, did I really meditate? Did I really do those prayers? And you forget. Why did you forget? Because you weren't conscious in the moment. So we're here this morning to wake up and shift our consciousness, first and foremost. So the things like at work, go to work with a new consciousness tomorrow. Go home this afternoon with a new consciousness. Drive from here home in a different way with a different consciousness. Do something to get out of that routine. Because whatever we do, even in what we call the microcosm of our life, will affect the macrocosm of our life. Whatever we do as people who are connected here to the Kabbalah Center, in our microcosm here of Boca, will affect the macrocosm of the world. Because we are interconnected. So we heard of the events that happen in France. We hear what's going on around the world in all parts of the world. Sometimes that negative voice in our head says, what can I do about it? Well, we're learning this morning what to do. Break your habit, break your routine. And the light of the Creator will make a change in the world. It's not up to us to change the world. It's up to us to change us. And as we channel more light, the light of the Creator will change the world. We don't know. How many of you ever had one of those overnight transformations in some way or other? Some revelation, some inspiration, some dream. Happened like overnight, instantly. Okay, so we're here with the understanding of how to give that to other people. So that all the people out there who aren't thinking like we, who are thinking in negative ways, who are still caught up in their negativity and not realizing how much power of the Creator they have inside them, how much light and blessing is waiting if they just act in unconditional love. So we can affect those people by changing our routine. We'll change those routines. By changing our behavior, we'll change their behavior. You don't believe it? At least try it. We have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So it has to start with us. It starts with us. But Daniel, if we're going to have the clip ready, I just want to share with you the concept. You and I are sitting here. Even though I came to the center almost 30 years ago, there were people before me who did what they needed to do to make the center exist so I could find it. There are people who came before you, the first day you walked in here, who have done things to make sure there was a center that you could walk into. What I'd like to awaken in us is that same concept now of pay it forward. We've heard it. Hopefully you got a little clip here. We'll see. We'll watch for a minute, and then we'll finish up. So those of you who are familiar with the movie, you know the next thing that happened is one favor was paid forward to the next, to the next. There was a very nice story, I think 2 years ago at a Starbucks. Somebody in a drive-in, as they went to pay for their coffee, they paid for the person behind them. Went on for 11 hours. 378 people were willing to pay for the person behind them. Now, I just want to share with you, the voice of doubt came out at the end of that and said, well, but they really weren't paying it forward. Because the first guy gave, let's say, $10, 5 for his and 5 for the other person. So the next person who was asked, would you like to pay for them? They really just gave their same $5. And like this and this and this. The difference is, as we understand, as every religion and every spirituality teaches, love your neighbor as yourself, is exactly that idea of pay it forward. You take something and you give it to someone else. And if I took this piece of paper or something and I passed it around, in the end of the story, it goes through all of your hands and I get it back. So what would be the difference if I just kept it? Versus I give it to you and it goes around, goes around, goes around like that Starbucks. The difference is the energy in it. We understand here there's power and energy in every action we do. So it wasn't about, well, let's just look at the economics. The first guy gave $10 and that was it. Everybody else just gave their $5. But that wasn't the point. The point was consciousness. As we said with the prayer and meditation, it's not about not praying or not meditating. It's about shifting the consciousness. Wake up and realize, as I hand something to you, it comes with love your neighbors yourself. As you hand it to the next person, and as we pay it forward, it comes with love, not just the thing itself. So eventually everyone will have everything they ever needed, but not because they took it, but because they shared and somebody else shared and somebody else shared. So everybody still has everything, but it comes with the energy of love and sharing, not with the energy of receiving and taking. And you and I understand the power of energy. So as we're here to pay it forward with the light of the Creator, remember, the Creator paid it forward to us. We've been paying it forward for thousands of years to get to this point, and now we have an opportunity to continue to pay it forward. So I wanted to offer this morning two things. One is just this simple lesson, that you will find ways to break your routine and pay forward some good that's been done to you. Those of you who know and you've been around, you know that our biggest project is the Zohar Project. So what I've been able to arrange through a few sponsors is those of you who would like to get one of these little pocket Zohars. I think now they're paperback, but if you'd like to get one, but not for you. If you're going to do it, if you want to get your own, fine, you can purchase that at the bookstore. But if you'd like to get one, and those of you who are new, we believe that these are books that shine the light of the Creator, that will bring blessing and protection to whoever has it around them. So if you'd like to join and make your first step, you can take one of these. They're available outside, but your commitment is not to keep it for yourself. That you obtain yourself, but to find someone outside this room, someone in your life that you're willing to go give it to and share with them and pay it forward. So that I've arranged is available for you, right? And the key, like we just saw, we may not be in 7th grade, but that negative voice in our own head tells us, well, who are we? What can we do? And like you heard, we have infinite possibilities. We have the infinite light of the Creator within us. We have all the capability if we just open our mind and break our routine, and we'll say, yes, I may not be the president, and I may not be, I don't know, a wealthy business person or what have you, but I am a human being that is pure and perfect, and I do have the infinite light of God in me, and I do believe with all certainty that that power of that light force, as we all emanate it, can bring the end of all death, pain, and suffering. And we see it. The world may not expect it from us, but it's time for us to wake up and expect it from ourselves. You're great and amazing people. You are pure and perfect, and I want to thank you and bless you for being here on Sunday with me. Just one more quick thought. I found it just came out this morning from Karen Berg, who's our international director now. Sometimes we're in such a hurry that we forget to experience those little moments of thoughtfulness, which, had we paused for them, might have saved us and others a great deal of hurt. Sometimes we're in such a rush that we forget that kindnesses along the way have more value than the goal we are trying to reach. Today, honor the small moments as the precious gifts they are. Pay attention to the people around you. Our life is, in essence, only a bundle of things we have done that have brought pleasure to others. It is through those things, however small or seemingly insignificant as they may seem, that we reach the light of the Creator. So it's another way of saying, get out of our routine and share our light.